Hi, welcome back to another great adventure in the kitchen. So this is a part one of a part three trilogy that I'm going to be showing you how I make a rich, indulgent chocolate cake, sugar-free and along the same lines as keto diet. So it's going to be nice and healthy. So I've got 300 grams of almond flour. I've got just over a cup of coconut oil, 2 eggs, half a teaspoon of salt, and I've got 30 grams of sweetener. So I mean artificial sweetener. So first of all, we're going to just melt our coconut oil. Use extra virgin coconut oil. There's so much better taste than the just pure, as they call it, coconut oil. It doesn't really taste too coconutty, so we'll just let that come to a heat. So I've just cracked my eggs and I'm going to give them a whisk as the coconut oil is melting. So once the coconut oil's heated up, you can turn the heat down. You just want to keep that heated. Let's add the almond flour. The good thing about this recipe, it's totally carbohydrate free. So we all know when we're cutting down on the carbohydrates, it's really hard to find indulgent food that often we crave. So I'm just going to give that a good stir and make sure all the oil is into the mix as possible. Next I'm going to add the egg, the salt and the sweetener. So give that a good stir. And as soon as I stirred it, I took it off the heat. Now we can get a baking tray, grease it a little bit. You can use a bit of coconut oil or a little bit of butter, it's up to you. Now I'm simply going to add the pastry and smooth it all out. And just so you know that I'm not going to be cheating, I'm going to be using making an individual version of this cake for presentation purposes. We'll come back in a moment. Next, give it a good pricking. You don't want it to rise. And I've got my oven preheated. I always preheat the oven on the maximum temperature and then turn it down to about gas mark 6, and we're just going to bake this until it looks nice and slightly golden. We'll come back and have a look at what that looks like. And I can't forget the little individual one that I'm making as well. So I had it on about 5.5, gas mark 5.5, and that was in the oven for about 15 minutes, maybe 12. But that's just how I want it, a little bit crispy around the edge and firm and set. And you don't need to cook it so it's really golden, because we're going to be putting a pie mix and it's going to go back into the oven. So if you overdo it at this stage, it's definitely going to be overdone by the time you make your cake. So thank you very much for watching. Go over to part 2 and we're going to be making this amazing high protein cake that we're going to put on the top of this, and it's going to be absolutely delicious.